Hi guys, it's me MultiplesOfNico. I am back. I feel like myself. I feel sane again. And sorry about the whole lightning. I kind of look cool, whatever. But I'm not opening up these blinds because my room's a mess. Also, in the background, my bed's not made because they're going to take this furniture out. And your girl has to get a new bed set. And I'm trying to wait until they get situated, to come take the dresser and the bed, stuff like that. But I'm waiting for her to take it out because it makes sense for me to go ahead and buy furniture and have it hold up somewhere and hire somebody else to kind of pick it up and bring it in because I cannot physically bring a big ass bed in here with my nerve pain and stuff like that. No, ma'am. So that's why I was gonna wait. But like the pirate people are taking forever to come in and take their stuff, which I don't know why. So yeah, like I was saying, I feel like myself again. I was just having a lot of health issues, and I thought I was just like having like a little cold and stuff like that. But I should have just checked my sugars. I have been checking my sugars lately, ever since like I started doing all this overtime, and also I lost my meter. So I'm just kind of like, whatever. I'll just judge based how I feel. No, and also I'm an emotional eater. I eat when I'm happy, when I'm sad, or whatever. Also, I'm a very big binge eater. Like I'll eat like a ton of calories in one meal and be like, I'm fine, it's okay. And also, I was kind of missing out on my old lifestyle of like eating whatever I want when I want to. So it was kind of all me. But also, I was working out, make sure it was good. And then when that was overtime, that's when things started to take a spin for me because I was working out, stuff like that, and I stopped working out. And that's when all my health issues were kind of coming into play. And I was like, oh, I don't feel good. I thought it was just like me doing a lot of overtime because I was coming at nighttime and at 10 to help out on that third shift because really they had nobody on that third shift to really help them out. And I was like, oh, and I was like, I need, something to really help them out. So I've been doing that shift and my shift, and then when I go home, I'm just like, go to bed, go to bed, go to bed, and I don't do it over again. And then I was just like, I gotta stop. And then that's when I started feeling bad. Like I started feeling really, really, really bad when we had that ice storm happen a couple of weeks ago. And I was just like, after that third day of me just being at work and not kind of cooperating and like resting and getting back to myself and make sure I'm okay, I was just kind of like, I don't feel good. I don't feel good. I don't feel good. I just thought it was just like me, like not wanting to come to work, not wanting. Sorry, I'm taking my medicine, my pills. I just thought it was just, I don't know, just something. Because like a lot of people were getting sicker around that time, so I thought that it was just me. And then the more and more it started getting worse, then it's like I was just trying to shrug it off because like I was like, hell yeah, overtime. And then that's when a lot of the stress started coming in, with a lot of other things with family issues and a lot of things like with payments in the mail that had to get done, or else they'll do something to my freaking pay stubs or whatever. And I was like arguments, and I was like, oh, okay, whatever. But I was still kind of making good money, and then like I was like, oh yeah, my birthday's coming out, this, that, and I was just focusing on everything else but me, and I was just like, I still feel like crap, and after the third day of staying over during that winter storm, I started feeling the worst. Like I started hearing ringing in my ears. It was like one day to where I woke up, the room was just spinning, and I couldn't talk, I couldn't walk, I was stumbling all over, and I was just like, like it was kind of like one of those VR games, but everything was just spinning really fast and slow at the same time. And I was like, am I tripping? I thought it was streaming, but then I was walking, I was like, I'm not tripping, this is actually real life. And I was like, huh, but that should have been a big ass clue right there. But me, I kind of like, I'm always kind of sickly every now and again. But I was just trying to push it off and be like, But I should have kind of stopped and took care of myself better than I was. And that's when I stopped doing a lot of working out. I work out like once a week. I used to work like every single day except for like a Sunday or a Saturday. Then I'll kind of give my body a break. But then my issues start getting worse. And if I had checked my sugars like I'm supposed to be, I probably could have stopped this or prevent this. And then this past weekend, I was just like feeling like crap, like absolute crap. I started feeling like depressed and anxious, and my anxiety was kicking in. I was like, you know, thinking like, you know how like all those things, I don't want to like get flagged from a video, but just like all the stuff was coming out, and I was like, oh my goodness, you know. And I was just like, every time I come home from work, I would like stay in my room. I wouldn't go out. I wouldn't just see things. I wouldn't do things. I was not excited to go to work like I usually. I was excited to talk to people. I just kind of really was just in this mood to where I was like very antisocial. And I didn't want to talk to like one of my close coworkers. They're kind of like, they knew something was different, something was up, but they couldn't really, I don't know, they were trying to get me to laugh and talk like how I usually do, but they were kind of like, something's weird, you know. So I happened to check my sugars one day because I started having this headache. And I was like, it was very consistent. It wasn't because of my nerve pain or whatever. So I checked my sugar. It was like in the 400s. And I was like, pause. Stop what I'm doing, you know. Like, stop doing all this overtime. Stop kind of, you know, trying to make sure the job's covered. Because, like, my health comes first, you know, in a situation. And I was like, I had to fully kind of like stomp the brakes. And, you know, I could have crashed in the car. I could have just fell at work. God knows what could have happened, you know. So I was like, I was trying to drink a ton of water, drink my protein, but it seemed to keep coming up. And I was like, huh. And then I started getting anxious, getting more worried about it. I was like, what's going on? So I should have went to the hospital right then and there, but I didn't because I was like, I'm not going to get a hospital bill. No, ma'am. But I went to the hospital on the 4th day, and they didn't really believe me, honestly. It seemed like there was a lot of blame on myself than anything. And they were just kind of like, well, stop eating bread. Stop eating, you know, crackers and stuff. And you can go on. And I'm like, if they had actually looked at my blood sugar levels, my sugars actually stayed in the hundreds. If it got that high to the 200s to the 300s, I could do like exercise and it goes back down and it stays down. I never had to where it will kind of like get down low and it'll come right back up. You know, I never had it happen to me before, ever, unless I'm like sick or that one time was a car accident. Then I understand that, but really nothing was wrong with me that I knew of. And I was just like, guys, this is not how my sugar really is. And they were not understanding that in the ER. It was a lot more blame on myself than anything. I think because also because I was overweight, that's what they were looking at, really. But I think if I was actually skinnier, I think they will took me more seriously, you know. But when I went to the clinic, I don't have a doctor yet because I don't have insurance. So when I went to the clinic, they were like, oh no, you know, they took me back really quickly, you know, they kind of understood where I was coming from, and they actually did not place really any blame on me. They were actually listening to me, understanding me, and was very concerned about me, and actually kind of were more listening to me, and actually they were understanding like where I was coming from. I told them, I don't eat a lot of carbs, and if I do, I kind of like adjust it to my sugar levels. And they were like, okay. So they were writing stuff down and asked me, what you eat before you came in? And I was like, well, I had vegetables and chicken. Like, that's all you had? I said, yeah, that's really all I had. And they're like, huh, okay. So they wrote it down and said, well, your sugar shouldn't be going up like that at all. And I was like, I know, so what's going on? And then they said, well, you've been working out. I said, I've been working out. Not leave because of the overtime, but yes, I've been working out. And like, oh, okay. So they were like puzzled as I was. And I was like, yeah, I don't know what's going on. And even my family didn't know what's going on because they know that I keep my sugars regulated. Like, I'm the least person to worry about this. Because, like, last one time I was super focused on my sugar levels so far. My parents was like, stop working out all the time. And I was like, bro, I gotta get this done now. So they were like, okay, well, keep doing what you're doing, but we'll add like more medication. So I'm taking 2 forms of metformin. So I'm taking like 1,000. I'm taking like 1 in the morning and 2 at night. And I'm taking also, since my high blood pressure was a little high, I'm taking 1 tablet by mouth, which is 5 grams for my high blood pressure. And it's trying to make sure I'm not having a full-on stroke or something like that, or a heart attack or whatever. And I was like, yeah, I don't want that because I'm young. You know, like, even though I may not be in my 20s anymore, but I'm still young to be considered that kind of a risk, you know. And they just want to make sure I'm okay. And if my stuff's not probably regulated, they're gonna kind of watch me and see, and tell me to come back in a month or so. And I do have another appointment at the end of the month, so hopefully, fingers crossed, things will change, you know. And I really have been working out because my body is just kind of struggling with my sugar still, because since it's been so high, and when it drops to a regular normal level for me, I feel like crap, to where I just feel more tired and more just like ugh. But I'm gonna get up today and go to the store and clean up my car, and then come back and work out, so that way I can kind of start feeling more. I spit right there, so I can start feeling more like myself. And that way I can go back to work on Monday and not have to worry about it. Everyone's like, oh, she's in the hospital. A lot of people thought I had COVID, and I was like, guys, just because I get sick doesn't mean I have COVID. And plus, like, my next week is my last week for work, because I put in my 2-week notice. So I'm leaving on that Friday, and people thought I already left. And I was like, no, I didn't leave yet. I'm sick. And it's kind of bad timing to get sick, because I'm trying to make sure my checks are good. You know, I made sure like my rent was paid for March, which is good, because if I got admitted, at least my rent was paid. I don't have to worry about what's my lights and my water. So lights and water is really not that big of a bill. Usually the rent's the biggest bill to kind of come up with for most people, really. But since I've been doing it overtime, I had savings, so I kind of took cash out. I was like, here, just take this, because I'm struggling, you know, with my health. But I'm not on insulin yet. I told me I don't want to be on insulin. Please don't put me on insulin, because like when I was on insulin, I kind of, it put me on there longer than I needed to be, honestly. And I was on insulin for too long, and it kind of affected my health a lot, because I was even taking it when it was in like the 150 range, if that makes sense, to where you don't even need to take insulin. And they were like, why are you still taking insulin? And I was like, I don't know, because like one of my coworkers kind of asked me, how's your sugar? And I was like, well, it's like 150. I'll just take 2 units of insulin. He's like, wait a minute, you're still taking insulin? And I was like, yeah, that's what my doctor told me. I was in the hospital. They were like, you need to go get that checked out, because you're not supposed to be taking insulin. And I was like, huh? So I went to the doctor. She's like, yeah, you should have been off your insulin when you got to the hospital. And I was like, well, nobody told me. It seems like every time the hospital tells me something about my diabetes, they give me very like misinformation about what's going on. I don't think they really care, because I'm overweight. But once I get my weight down, I think I'll be taken more seriously, you know? And it's kind of frustrating to where the system of the health is very against me. Like, since like day one, they've been against me with my asthma. They blame it on my weight. With my diabetes, they blame it on my weight. And yes, a small part of it's my weight, but really, I want to be treated just like any normal person. You know, I know doctors have a job to do, stuff like that. And they're really worried about like other things. They want to fault me for like X, Y, and Z instead of focusing on the main issue, which kind of frustrates me so much. That's why I came in to get my weight down and be healthy and be taken seriously, and I actually get diagnosed properly, because every time they try to diagnose me, it's always like, oh, because you're fat. And I'm like, oh, like, you know, because there was one time where I had a hamstring and it was hurting, I'm like, oh, they're like, oh yeah, it's because you're fat. And I was like, but I'm super active, and why am I still getting muscle cramps, leg cramps? They're like, oh, it's because you're fat. And I'm like, okay. You know, and they were like very not that nice to me during that time. So I was like, that's why I don't really trust the health system, or don't like going to the doctor, don't like doing a lot of stuff because I'm fat. Which, yes, I am, but your girl's trying to lose weight, truly. It's just, I always kind of hold my weight until the third month when I'm taking it super seriously. Then I drop all of it in 1 month. And then people get concerned, like, are you okay? I'm like, yeah, I've been working out. But a lot of people kind of say, oh, yeah, you look fine. You look good. I was like, boo-boo, I'm fat. I need to lose some kind of weight so I can be somewhat healthy considering to the health system so they can get off my ass. Anyways, see you guys later. Peace out and bye.